What up, man? Welcome to another episode. Building this LS motor to go in the 87 truck. So right here, it's just, I'm gonna time lapse everything on this one. This one running that 8X right here. So these my lifters. Got that assembly lube them things up, put them in the block, torque everything down. After that, get the other 4 of them installed. Those going in real good right there. So, gotta get everything, my torque settings correct. Cylinder head, I redid the heads for this motor in the garage. I used sandpaper and a piece of marble from Floor and Decor. Lap my own valves, put my valve springs in, cleaned everything up, checked them with a straight edge, make sure everything looks good on there. So, here I'm just cleaning everything with some brake cleaner. Make sure that my surfaces are clean before I get the head put on the engine. Make sure the engine surface is clean. I'm using the multi-layer steel gaskets on here from Pro. Them gaskets $38 a piece, but they better seal tight though. So get my gasket put here on the engine, drop the head on there, and it's 10 bolts that hold the head in place. And there are 5 small bolts. They just really up there where the intake manifold goes, so they don't do much. But there's a torquing sequence there in the book. I'm just gonna torque them down by hand for now, and then I'm gonna come back with the torque wrench. You have to go through the torque sequence 3 times. So I just have a time lapse of the torque sequence going, so y'all can see all the torquing that's required when you're putting the heads on this LS engine. So now, doing the initial torquing of the bolts in sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's the order you want to go in. So after you do that, I just wanted to go double check again, make sure everything was good. But once you get done with that, you gotta have an angle gauge finder. You don't have to have this. You can do it by eye if you want to, but you better make sure everything's the same. But you go through the same sequence, torquing everything down again, same sequence. So I'm just going through it again. Here's a close-up video of what it looks like. When you set your angle position on there, I just put the dial on 0, tighten it up, and then whatever degree of turn is specified on the torque, I'll torque it until it gets there, and then that's it. So that's all I'm doing on all the bolts on this one. Still going through more torquing. A lot of torquing on this, man. A lot of torquing. Got to go through what? 30 torques on here. 10 with the torque wrench, 10 more with the first angle, and then you got to do 10 more with the second angle. And then when you get done with those, you still ain't done yet. You still got to come back and you got to do the 5 small bolts at the top where the intake manifold goes. So I'm just knocking these out. Go ahead and get them knocked out. The tool I'm using is made by a company called LISLE. I don't know if it's pronounced Liesel or Leasley, but it worked pretty good. I don't have any complaints about it. Make sure you don't bump the tool when you're using it. So now since I got the head on, everything torqued in place, I'm getting the small bolts now, as I said, which usually on instructions, those are bolts like 11 through 15. So I'm just getting them snugged up here, and then I'm going to come back with the torque wrench and tighten them up the rest of the way. That's me hitting them with the torque wrench. 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Just putting a little bit of lube on there. Keep everything lubed up. We don't want no friction. So now I'm spraying everything down with a little bit of brake cleaner because getting ready to paint, I want to make sure my primer and paint sticks to the engine block really well. So cleaning everything with brake cleaner. I already cleaned it with soap and water, pressure washer, degreaser, all that. This brake cleaner is like my final clean before I get ready to paint everything. So here, I'm just using some old painter's tape. I don't know if I got this at Lowe's or Wallet World, but it's just the wide painter's tape. So I'm going to tape up everything I don't want paint on getting tape on. Which I'm painting everything except for the cylinder heads. I was going to do the oil pan in silver and the timing cover in silver, but I decided to just go ahead and paint everything red. Match the truck. So looks good to me. Get a good layer of tape on there so I don't get any overspray on anything I don't want overspray on. And then once I get that paint can, I'm going to just let it go. Spraying everything. Putting a little bit of tape on the crankshaft snout now, or crankshaft nose, wherever part USA you from. So I already had primed the engine. I didn't get that on camera. Now going through spraying it with that Chevy paint. It's VHT brand paint, and it's called Chevy Orange Red. So that's the same color paint that I use on my other engine that's currently in the truck. Same color paint that I use on my power steering gear. Same color paint that I use on everything in the engine compartment in the truck that's red. So I want it all to match up. I'm just going through here now, getting a good coat of paint. I think I put about maybe 3 or 4 coats of paint on here before it was all said and done. And I also got some black paint down there painting the harmonic balancer on the floor. And then there's a little bracket, I believe, where you access the transmission bolts. I was painting that on the floor too on a piece of cardboard. But engine is currently no oil in the engine, so I'm able to turn it over, make sure I can get the paint from all directions. Very important when you paint to turn it over if you can and get it from all directions, because it's a lot of webbing in the block, and unless you want to get down low on the ground and be spraying up and laying down at all kind of weird angles, it's just easier just to turn the engine block over on the stand and spray it that way. So I just get a little bit of rotation on, painting it, making sure I get all the cracks on all the webbing on the block, letting it dry. And after the video was over, I put a couple more coats of paint on and everything. But here's what it looked like when I got done.